Pat Ryan. How we doing, buddy?
Doing all right. How are you doing, Brad?
I'm all right. Besides this fucking driveway I had to just shovel. But how was the drive here?
It wasn't too bad, except for leaving my street in North St. Louis and then driving on your street down here in Barnhart.
Yes, very different, huh? Is the highway still pretty bad?
No, the highway's clear.
Okay, well, yeah, it was fucking ice the other day.
Yeah, literally the only streets that aren't clear are the street I live on in North St. Louis, and then your street right here.
North St. Louis. See, I'm not too familiar with the whatchamacallit, the area, the city. You guys got south side, north side, east side, and all that. I never really learned. I know the east side's where the titty bars are.
Yeah, at least right now.
Yeah. North side, is that over there by Apotheosis?
North side's over there by the Delmar Loop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did a bunch of work out there then.
Yeah, south. Yeah, Apotheosis is on the south side.
Nice. So how long you been doing it?
I started in comedy about 5.5 years ago. The first 2 years were kind of just more like for shits and giggles, like going up every once in a while. Because I was also a theater major in college, so I was always doing plays and stuff. And then at the end of 2017, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to focus on doing this more. I like it more than having to deal with community college theater students.
Yeah, I've had a few friends that have those. What is that degree called? Theater arts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and liberal arts and an arts degree, and they all say, and they're the same way. They're all prima donnas. It seems like it's just like when I worked as a cook. I was a chef. I was right underneath the sous chef, and the guys you work with in restaurants, when you actually like the ones that want to be called chef, it's like get over yourself. I'm not calling you chef. What's your fucking name and shit like that. But I've learned that those kind of guys that went to this school and everything like that, which they spent the money, they've earned it, but they come off very egotistical sometimes, and I see it drive away a lot of talent and introverts and people that just aren't into all the high school drama that comes along with the bullshit.
Yeah, it's like one of the things I learned doing community college theater. All the students they act exactly the same as they were doing in high school, being all cliquey and shit. Because like it got to the point where like I was still in college for 2 years after I started focusing more on comedy, and it never really changed too much with how the way some of the students were acting, but it was a big relief off my shoulders once I was like, all right, theater's going on the back burner, comedy, we're going for that.
So did you kind of do your own theater thing though still, right? Because I've heard all about it, and I want to know when you're going to do it again, the Wise and Crack stuff with Teal Pierce. I want to get him on here, but I just want to wait until it's. I know he's taking the COVID thing quite seriously, which is cool. I'm respectful of that. So I wanted you both to get on here, but I'll take what I can get while I can get it,
Oh yeah, so it's, like at the improv shop, because Teal and I are also both improvisers. We do it's a sketch show, kind of like Saturday Night Live, except not as professional. And Wise and Crack is a recurring characters we do. They're the world's worst vaudeville team.
Okay.
And because the first sketch we did was September of 2019. And that was like in the opening. It was like you have the cold open, and then you have like the opening monologue our producers would do. And so our bit was in that, and just doing all stupid puns like, I went out fishing the other day and caught a smelt. Oh, that must have been good. Okay. No, it smelled awful. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Hey.
Okay, so like that old school Henny Youngman, like these guys. I collect a lot of vinyl, and I go and collect a used vinyl. Anytime I go to like a flea market or thrift store, I find those old school guys when you released a comedy album on an actual vinyl, And some of them are really bad. Like some of them are like, this was comedy back in the fucking 40s or whatever. And
yeah. Oh yeah. It's like listening to like Mort Saul, who's like one of the premier comics of the 50s, like in his quote unquote political-esque humor. It's like, it's like, yeah, no, nothing like hearing a good joke about, Dwight Eisenhower during the Trump era.
Yeah, that's what I always explain. It's like those comics, it's not that they're not funny and that the album isn't funny. It's that they are a current event, I call them, kind of comic. They keep up with everything that's going on today in the society, and they work on that stuff. And then they may have, if they're greats, they have these things that I call timeless jokes. It's going to be funny 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, all the way up to today. It's still funny no matter when it's said, because it doesn't relate to a time period or on the time, phrase. It's just funny. Like Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Henny Youngman is one of my favorites as a one-liner.
Oh, yeah. Rodney Dangerfield's one of my favorite one-liners.
Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield. I love his, he's a big, what I consider a self-deprecation. He always is.
Self-deprecation?
Yeah, always ragging on himself. Which is one of my favorite things. I try to work on. I've really jumped back into the whole writing thing more because I write a lot, and I wrote for like 2 or 3 years heavily before I finally decided to get up there on the stage with you guys. And
yeah.
I was going to every single open mic before, like 2 years before, and before that I was going to the ones that John Maddie was doing and everything because. Me and him, we go back like car seats, and which is what made me get into comedy. What more is I've always wanted to. John did it, became jealous, and he wasn't all that great at the time. And now it's like this motherfucker is getting standing applauses, and every other joke's getting applause. And it's like it was inspirational. I was like, look, if you can do it that good, I can, because we were always competitive. Because he played basketball, we were both on the same basketball team. Luckily, we didn't play the same position because he's a big motherfucker.
I know, it's like every time I see John Maddie at an open mic, even if I was up especially like a heavy anchor when that's like 10 p.m. and like if I got to be working at like 8:45 the next morning, if John Maddie's there, I will hang around to see his set just because like even if the audience doesn't like it, his commitment to every single bit.
Yes, he's a killer, man. Like I said, he is inspirational. I am jealous, but I also like to see the people around me do better and come up. I feel like right now, okay, perfect example. I've got a lot of friends back home that are still living at home with their parents. And it's not because of COVID. This was before COVID, and they're still doing the same thing, going to the same bar, doing the exact same stuff, getting arrested for the same stupid little shit that we were doing when we were teenagers. And it's like, they're like, dude, you got married, you own a house, you got a car, you're starting a company. And it's like, yeah, man, that shit. I feel like I'm looking back at them like, come on, we did that already, let's go catch up. And it's just like starting to see a lot of people get left behind. And John's one of those ones that really I seen what he was doing, and I seen how far he's gone, and now I feel like I'm trying to catch up to him because I didn't start when he did. And I'll never catch up to him because I mean he's been doing it 7-8 years now.
Yeah. I know, it's like one thing I think is that like when you're starting out in comedy, always try to find someone who's been doing it for like at least 3, maybe 4 years, and like kind of latch onto them and like kind of learn from them like the process and everything.
Yeah, you know who I just sat down with? It's just up Nicholas Kuvars.
Ooh,
man, I just found out he's only been doing it like 3.5 years.
Yeah,
and I was like, you've only been doing it 3.5 years, because I've got him in my list in my head. It's like there's certain locals that is like, this guy you may see some of him, or then he's gonna be on like a tour. He's gonna do it. Maybe not be like on TV and everything, but they're gonna make money in comedy. And Nick Kuvar is one of the ones that I've always been like, he's gonna make money in comedy, like legitimately, where he doesn't have to work a job. Well, I mean, I don't know what you want him to do, anyways, blindly, but he'll make a good money from that. I think Ronaldo's one if he keeps at it. Elijah. If he keeps doing it, think of how young he is.
Yeah.
How old are you?
26.
26. And you said?
I started when I was 20.
20. He's 18. What do you think he's going to be doing by 26, 27 years old, when he actually learns what life is and learns, I mean, it's from what I've talk to him, it sounds like he's got a pretty rough little upbringing so far, homeless and everything else. Yeah, by the time he is, by that, like I wish I was 18. I didn't start until I'm a year and some change in right now as far as performing. I'm not counting writing or anything like that because it don't count until you get up there. And I just think if I had that much experience in something, I'm the type that truly believes if you do something, like what is it? If you practice and research something for 2 hours every day for 10 years, you will be a master at it.
Yep.
You will master for the most part. I mean, there's always going to be someone smarter, better, and understands it better than you. But I think 28 years old, we're going to be seeing him coming out swinging. Like he's going to, especially if he sticks to it and keeps grinding, like putting on his own shows, hosting shows and stuff like that. Like the gigs he's got out there in Perryville and stuff that he does. Not very often, but when he does, it's all experience. It's all stage time. And that's what really you can tell. I can tell just from my performance, not getting no stage time, not as much stage time as before COVID. Like I was just starting to feel like getting in the groove. It was all starting to click a little bit with me. And then COVID hit, and it's like bar mics and shit like that where everybody's just drunk and not paying attention, like Becker's Arena bar. Yeah. That was a rough bar. I liked it at the end because I was like, I'll just get my bombing out of the way this week by going to that one.
Yeah, no, it's like, because I went to that one a couple of times, and then I was like, it's okay.
It wasn't okay. Even Gary says that shit was bad, but it was
something.
You earned your stripes there. That was one of those ones I was like, oh, you're new. You need to go to the arena and see what a real crowd that's drunk and rowdy at a bachelor party or something like that is. And yeah, that's I ended up liking that one by the end because I knew how to catch their attention.
Yeah,
I'd say the shortest joke that doesn't take much attention span that's really, really bad. And I can do those all day long. I can do dark one-line humor all day.
Yeah, I know. It's like my second set, because I think I only went there like twice, mostly just because of timing things with my job. So
right.
I think like after the first time I went, I was like, you know what, the next time I'm just gonna go there and do some of my stupid puns. That's mostly what I did. Still bombed like terribly, but it's like, hey, at least I had fun bombing with stupid puns than like my good jokes.
What made you jump into the whole thing? Like when you said 5 years ago, what were you thinking about when you were doing theater, and then was it something that a teacher or somebody told you should try this to help with public speaking, or with your acting skills? What made you jump into comedy?
I mean, really, like when I was a teenager, I just loved watching Comedy Central and all the stand-up specials on there. So I had wanted to do stand-up since I was a teenager, because like even in high school, I was kind of writing my own jokes and doing them for my friends because they were all about my friends. They laughed. That's all that mattered to me.
Yeah,
But I didn't know of like any open mics in St. Louis because I didn't think about Google. And then when I was 20,
I'm still learning Google.
Yeah. My best friend and current roommate. One night we went to the Heavy Anchor, and then they were having open mic night, and then my now ex-friend was a comic who was performing there for the open mic, and then I talked to Chad Wallace who runs the Shipwreck.
I think he gave it up though. Somebody just told me I think Kuvar, or who did I have? I had Kuvar and somebody else, and I think it was Kuvi. He's like, yeah, I think Chad's just doing his own thing from now on. I think he's making actual good money on the Zoom shows or something.
I mean, hey, whatever works for him.
Yeah. But so back to it. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah. So I talked to Chad. It was like 12:30 in the morning. It's like, any chance I can go up? It's like, yeah, sure. What's your name? I'll write it down. It's like, I told him it was Pat Ryan, and then he's like, give it up for your last comic of the evening. It's like, what's your name again?
Yeah, well, that's not that hard to remember either. Pat Ryan, 2 first names, as Moon on the Riz show would always say.
Yeah, but even Chad will talk about this a lot. Like, one of the things that always happens, like at Shipwreck, especially if it's like right after his birthday through the beginning of the year, he will just get drunk and shit faced and kind of forget things.
I heard him talk about that a lot on it before COVID hit, about that. Yeah, he was sober, he wasn't drinking no more, and it was like a big deal, which is always great to see. Like, as you can tell, I participate in different things. This isn't illegal no more, so.
Yeah.
But I don't drink that much. You'll see me drink a beer or two. Usually when I'm on stage, I have I'll double fisted on stage because I've been working on building a character. I've kind of fallen off on that so far. Just gonna lean into the assumption the crowd already thinks of me. This guy smokes weed, probably parties hard. Which, not really. I'm a carpenter. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning every morning. I'm building a house by 6.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm not too much of a drinker either. It's like sometimes I'll have a beer. Like only one time can I claim I've ever gotten on stage and done an open mic drunk, because this was at the Crow's Nest, like year 2 years ago or so.
That was JC's, correct?
JC. Yeah, JC, Chris Sear, and Quentin Wilbert.
Yeah, Quentin, I had him on. I liked him. And JC. JC's genuine.
Yeah.
I like that dude. But continue. So the Crack Fox, I mean, not the Crack Fox. I always get them two mixed up.
Wow, even I forgot. The place in Maplewood.
Yeah, JC, Chris Sears, open mic.
Yeah, wild card.
Yeah, so you got drunk going there, huh?
Yeah, I got drunk. Yeah, because it was just one of those times where it was like, because that's when I was still working at Jellystone Park. So I fucking hated that job, and I worked there for 7 years.
Right next to Six Flags?
Right next to Six Flags.
I worked at Six Flags. I know all about Jellystone.
Yeah, so like this is one day I had worked like all fucking day. Didn't have to work the next day. Just went out there, had like I don't know 4 or 5 beers, and then like I couldn't even like drive home. Like Ella Fritz and Casey Paulson put me on their couch just because they're good folks, and because they also know I don't drink that much, so they're like, ooh, drunk pad's always fun.
Yeah, 4 or 5 beers would do it too. A lot of people don't realize that, but I did that. Where was I at? I think it was Fear, Black Pack, Tornarios. It was Christmas Eve, no, New Year's Eve, I think. One of those shows. And it was an open mic. I went there, and not many people were there, and no one was at the bar. So I was like, let me get 2 beers. And they went down smooth. and I don't drink that often. And I've had 2 more. And then 2 more before I left. But I was drinking them. Usually I just kind of pussy sip them and everything. And then I had to get Nate Barrett. I locked my keys in my car all the way down there. What is that, Ferguson?
Yeah.
Florissant,
Yeah,
whatever. It's not the place you want to leave your car keys in the car locked up for 2 days, because I didn't feel like coming the next day. And my wife, I was like, I'm not going to argue with her to drive me all the way down to the city from here on her day off. I'll just find a ride, which I wish I wouldn't have, because as drunk as I was, Nate Barron, still horrible driver, Nate. You need to take some classes, dog. I was like almost home, and I was like, God damn. Nate, I'll never ride with him again. I'll risk the DUI. But so what's one of your favorite locals that you've got going on out here?
Let's see. Well, oh boy, I got quite a few favorite locals. Like like Chad, as we mentioned, Nick Kuvar, as we mentioned, Chris Sear.
Yeah, I wanna get him on here eventually, but I want to have a little bit more to offer, because he has his own platform and his own podcast, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just don't want him to feel like I'm piggybacking off of him or anything like that. But I'm definitely interested in talking with him. That's one thing I love about the podcast thing, is, for one, it's hard to make good friends with anybody in passing at a comedy club, because most people, we're like in our notebooks and we're not trying to pay attention to really anything else but remembering our set, what we're going to do. So it's hard to do that. That's why I like doing this, is sitting down one-on-one. I can talk to you, get to know you, you can talk to me, and hopefully by the end of it we leave as buddies. And, and that's how I like to do it. Even with people like I've had issues with, like Nicole Gorey. I've had her on. I was like, let's just get this shit out the way. I'm an asshole. You could be a bitch. We should get along. We should be friends here.
Yeah, no, I've never actually seen Nicole perform, because around the time she started was when I started kind of backing away, just because right when some of the other comics started catching the virus, I got a promotion at work. I'm like, okay, I kind of like having this, little promotion. I'm going to back away a little bit, be a little bit more safe.
Mm-hmm. Was a lot of people at your job catching it and getting laid off?
Actually, it took a while for anyone at my work caught it.
Yeah.
Uh, That's all I'm gonna mention because I can't go being like officially speaking for the Arch.
Right, right.
Yeah, but it's like it took a while for anyone I worked with to catch it.
No, okay, yeah. I luckily I work outside in the open. By the time, and I'm still not usually indoors because I'm one of the little strong, not strong, but I'm squirrely. I can get up and down into the roof trusses, and like I'm usually the guy that's up on the roof, building the roof, and then sheeting it for the shinglers to come in and shingle it behind me. So while I'm doing that, everybody, when the house is all closed up with windows, I haven't been in there. And my wife works at the mall with kids and grandmas. That's like their two demographics at the Sweet and Sassy. She runs that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so regularly tested and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice. You know, I kiss her every night. If she's going to get it, I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
It's, and her parents, she's really close with her parents. She's always with them. They've been getting tested because she has, her mom has MS and her dad's had some little bit of skin cancer or something. Like, so they regularly test. And my dad's got stage 4 cancer and has been in and out. So I've had to be around him, and he gets regularly tested when he was doing chemo and all that other stuff. So it's like I didn't have to take a test, luckily, because I didn't have the $130 or health insurance.
Yeah, luckily I haven't actually had to get tested yet, but we also get our temperature scanned every single day at work before we can even clock in.
Oh wow, yeah, I seen them. I went and got my tires changed right before the winter at Lowe's, and they were everybody would come in and clock in. They had to go to this little meeting by the automotive. And it was like the manager came in, took their temperature, and had to ask them all these questions. Have you had any, have you felt sick? Have you felt hot? Or have you had any symptoms of these symptoms? And it was like, wow. I mean, that's the easiest way for people to call off work, too, probably. Like, I'm not feeling good. I feel like I've got a fever or something like that. And if I was one of these people that ran a company, a business like that, I'd be like, cool, don't come in. Like, don't even risk it.
Yeah, that's what we do at the Arch. It's like, yeah, not feeling well, don't come in.
Yeah, and I think a lot of employers are going to have to just get used to that, and I think they need to maybe hire in some more people. If they should pay a little bit more. They can get more dependable, reliable employees if they actually paid them. Me working outside and everything, I get paid really well. I get paid, what a graduate, if I would have gotten my degree and not dropped out, is I'm getting paid now what I thought I would be getting paid from having a degree. More, probably.
Yeah.
But we have days like this. 2 days off. I've been off this week. So if I don't pull on Saturday because I'm doing a show in Cape Girardeau or Centreville, one of those, and if I don't, if I go to work, I can't hit the show, and then I got to pull a 10-hour shift on Saturday or 4 10-hour, basically 4 10-hour shift to get my 40 hours and to get my actual paycheck. So seeing, which I know it sounds bad because after finding out what a lot of other people my age are making, when I said, these little $500 checks ain't gonna do it each week, someone looked at me and was like, "You're making $500 a week?" I was like, no, that's not enough. Because I've set myself up to where I have to make this much, and I just had to deal with that realization. Come to realizing that not too long ago, because after COVID, I realized I was like, I really hate my job. I like my job. I actually enjoy building houses and building homes. I don't call it a house because you think there's houses out there that are still up and standing and people living in them since the 1800s, 1700s, shit like that, and it's just. I get to do that. I'm building one of those. Like we did, our company, the guy I work for did Jim Edmonds' house.
Oh,
shit
damn.
We do monsters. Like we do custom build monsters, and that's why I get paid well. I'm precise. I'm not like one of these McBride builders. Nothing against McBride. They can get you a house up in a week or two, fucking turnkey, ready to go. But the people that you work with it's hard. These people are never happy.
Oh, yeah.
Most of these guys that I have to work with never happy, never a smile on their face. They can never have a good day. It's always just mad. And a lot of them are Trump supporters. And since he's lost, it's been really rough and fucking quiet and real, So
Makes me glad I got out of Jellystone because
Yeah.
it was all Republicans over there.
Yeah, and I don't identify as either party, left or right. I guess if you break me down, I'm more of a leftist. But when I go into a room with a leftist and a rightist, they both are like the guy on the right is like he's a leftist, and the one on the left is like fuck that, we don't want him, he's a rightist. And then they both are like, well, let's just agree that he shouldn't vote because he probably wrote in Kanye West. He was one of the 19. And I didn't vote, but yeah, I don't like either. I didn't think we had either really good option, but it doesn't matter. Politics, thank God. The one good thing about Biden being in is it's like I can turn on the news and actually catch an article about something important, something that's meaningful instead of Trump.
Yeah.
I realized this the other night. A lot of comedians pull their material that they build out of headlines. They're going to find a headline and then they break it all down and write about it. If they're going to do like that Jerry Corley, Greg Dean kind of style of writing that they do, and I've noticed a lot of these people have become Trump haters because that's all that's in the fucking news. That's all their joke. All their material is against Trump and Republicans, and it's like that's all that's in the news. What else would they talk about?
Yeah, no, it's like usually if I'm writing a joke from a headline or a news article, it's usually some weird thing that happened.
Yeah.
Because like about 3 years ago, because like some guy who's like working at like Disney World or something fell into like a vat in the kitchen and kind of got like fried, and so I made a joke about that.
I've actually seen that happen. I worked at a KFC and a kid slipped and went to catch himself and put his hand right in. Like, luckily somebody grabbed him, but his hand still got hot chicken grease and oil all over. Gnarly shit. But yeah, no, I had one that was funny that I seen the other day, and it was like a man gets mad and gets denied service, comes back and robs the grocery store at gunpoint for chicken waffles and grabs a thing of syrup on his way out. I was like, all right, I might be able to write about down that one. But yeah, it's nice to see the different things being talked about in the news. It's not all COVID now. I guess maybe Biden was the better choice. I couldn't tell you. I'm not smart. You want me to vote, really?
Yeah, I know. It's like honestly, like Biden was not my favorite.
I liked Yang. I pay attention.
Yeah,
He was my favorite.
I mean, I was one of those Bernie bros, but like not be like, yeah, Bernie's gonna save us all. But it's like out of all the Democrats who ran,
Bernie had the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Bernie had a. When you take away Yang, for me, in my opinion, I think Yang was. Look at what we're talking about right now. Right now, every day in the news, you're hearing about automated jobs and stuff that are being lost to jobs. We're seeing it. We go to a Walmart, check yourself out. We're seeing it. Those are jobs. You go into a Taco Bell, you order your own food now from the computer screen. Those are jobs. All these things and that's what Yang was talking about. And now look at most of these countries in the world. They're talking about UBIs. What did Yang want to run on? A UBI. And it's like maybe we have a fucking $30 trillion deficit almost, and our GDP has now fallen below our actual national debt, which is never a good sign. And we need an Asian. They know math. Like, come on. That's what he ran on. It was an Asian dude that said that his slogan was math, make America think harder, or some shit like that. And I was like, yeah, I didn't even care about the $1,000 UBI if they could have scrapped that. What I cared about is the fact he wanted to implement real financial education like these Wall Street guys that bring in new guys give to these traders and stuff like that. He was going to teach that from kindergarten through fucking graduation. And then he was going to hand them $1,000 a month afterwards. What do you think now that these kids know how they've been taught their whole generation been taught how to use money, how to make their money as a tool and use it to make more. Instead of us, we know 40 hours, 401k, IRA, put it on this pedestal in this safe and just wait 64, 65 years old and retire. Then you've got a statistic that you're up against that the majority of people that retire die 2 years later. So you got 2 years to spend all that money that they've been getting a free tax loan off of your ass, basically free interest. I mean, so I think that needs to be implemented. I think that's one of the most important things to really bring our nation out of, and you'll see a lot less homelessness, because even the people that still go down the wrong path, there's going to be a lot more people with money to help them and that are much more generous. It's like you see with these Reddit guys. All these people on GameStop that made all that money, a lot of the people that made money, they were like donated. There was donations out to the world. They were helping other foundations. They were able to pay their mothers, surgery, get their cat to the vet like they needed, all kinds of shit. And it was like, it went into the community and got spent in the community. It didn't go into a shell company with, or get left in a bank account to where they didn't have to claim taxes, the same tax rate that everybody else was going to claim. Yeah, we're going to pay more taxes on it because we spent it and pulled our profits out right then. And you can't use the capital gains tax code. So whatever. That still puts more money into the government. Yes, we're getting fucked a little bit because we're paying more still than these guys. Whatever. There's more money going in. And I think that was a great thing. But that you see right there, those little things like that, little blips that you see in the system, you've seen what it did. You've seen how these Wall Street guys and these analysts were talking about how it was like the market's running too hot. There's too much money in it because of these new investors and everything. It's not running too hot. Do you really think that? We're in a pandemic. It's not even reached the highest that it's been yet. Like, it's obviously not running hot. It hasn't broken through the ceiling that it's already established. It's first when Trump was in office. No matter what you say about Trump, that motherfucker manipulated that market better than any other president out there. I mean, he did a much better job than any of the other presidents when it came to manipulating the markets. Pissed off a lot of people, like China and Russia, and now we're rebuilding those relationships. But I think they're always going to be pissed at us. I mean, we're always pissed at them. We talk so much shit on them. And they're like, Russians are like, just leave us alone. Like Putin, I've seen him multiple times put up his nukes. He says, put up his nukes, and everybody else. If everybody else will put them up, he says, there won't be no next generation. There won't be our grandchildren won't have generation. The generation won't exist because we're going to kill ourselves. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. And granted, he could be lying because that's what the media says he does. I don't know. I've tried to find, legit shit on him. He was a spy. He was pretty badass. But we don't have to go down a Putin fucking thing. When are you going to do another Wise and Crack? Y'all working on something?
So one of the things Teal and I are, we had this idea we started before everything hit. Kind of inspired because Jeremy Helwig, Stryker Spurlock, Amy Milton, and John Venegoni, did this thing every now and then called Fatal Bus Accident. Basically, they would kind of write a play and where weird shit happens and play themselves, and everybody always enjoyed it. Like, it's like one of their last ones. It was always sung at the Improv Shop. So we're kind of doing a thing. Once we can actually be around each other again, we're gonna write a thing. It's called Wise and Crack on the Road to Muncie. It's like a parody of Bob Hope and Bing Crosby's Road to Wherever movies.
Okay. Yeah, well, because you're sticking with that. I like it. I'm a big guy into uniqueness. There's a lot of people out there that, like, when they watch comedy, they want to see somebody standing up doing comedy. I love the different uniqueness, like prop comics. When's the last time you seen a good prop comic? But you guys doing that improvised sketch kind of thing, you're not seeing it no more. I love it.
Yeah, I think sketch is what I miss the most after everything shut down, because it's like sketch. I mean, people have been figuring out how to do sketch through Zoom, because even Saturday Night Live did it like 3 times before the end of their season. And then there's a show at the Improv Shop. I'm not part of it, but I forgot what it's called. But Rafe Williams, who's one of the best comics in St. Louis, is part of it, and then a bunch of other funny people. I think unloaded or downloaded or something like that.
Yeah, I'm getting into sketch too. So that's I would love to hear some of your what's your technique and everything. I actually did an episode with me and Mike, because Mike Ratcliffe and I are going to be working on some sketches. Yeah. Like I want to do a short one for the short clip shelf on video on like TikTok and YouTube, to where it's just I want to get Nick Kuvark walking around stumbling around looking for something, and then he sits down after he finds this little case, and he opens up the case and he puts on reading glasses and hits play on an audiobook. And just little stupid stuff like that. And then we have one about the Wall Street bet Reddit guys. They get rich after doing that whole thing. Well, in the beginning they're talking shit on the elite. You know, they don't pay enough. They can mix taxes, and then they end up getting rich overnight. And then they become the rich, and they're like, I don't know about a $15 minimum wage. I think you guys just need to pull yourself up from the bootstraps.
I said there are two pieces of advice I have if you're going to try to get into sketch. One, find a partner to write with, because that'll make everything a lot easier, because you'll be able to find a good balance. And then when you have like a premise, keep the premise simple, because then it's easier to just build up from there on a simple premise than having like this wild idea and then trying to make it even bigger. Because it's like the first sketch Teal and I wrote for the Saturday Evening Cabaret was we did a political debate between Donald Trump, but his opponent was Groucho Marx. And then because Teal played Groucho, I played Chico Marx as the moderator of this debate. So it was basically like 2-on-1, Groucho and Chico versus Trump.
Yeah.
And
Trump, I'm guessing you guys really over-exaggerated the Trump.
Yeah, over-exaggerated a lot of things.
He's the easy one. I love it. I love these, like, the Saturday Night Live stuff that they did with Trump. I was like, man, Baldwin really fucking killed a couple of those sketches that he played Trump in. I was like, that's good. Like,
yeah. I know. It's like, I think we probably had the most sympathetic portrayal of Trump, but we also kind of like going the Marx Brothers style movie. So he was more of like the Margaret Dumont, who is like, like the straight character, like, who, and basically, like the deadpan person in this world of wackiness.
Okay.
Yeah, because then
what'd you call that genre? The Marx Brothers?
Yeah, it's like a slapstick screwball comedy.
Okay, and that's a good one to look into, is for that genre, that style, and time. Yeah.
If you want a good screwball comedy, just go look at anything from the 1930s.
1930. Yeah, I love finding shit from then, like, because it's like you found a gem, a little fucking your own personal thing, and you can turn somebody like, have you ever seen this? And they're like, dude, it's white and black, and then it comes on and it's fucking kills it. Like, that's I'm into that. So.
Oh yeah, especially because especially when you have like the Three Stooges or Charlie Chaplin, or Abbott and Costello, like the premieres of comedy, Laurel and Hardy and all that.
Yeah, the Three Stooges I grew up on. That was some of my earliest childhood was watching the Three Stooges. I can't tell you which one the actor was, because I've learned not too long ago. A few years back, I went to a bar out on Manchester.
Stooges?
Yeah, and I found out that there was multiple different Stooges, and like that, or there was one original, and they changed out Moe and Curly or something like that.
The only ones that stayed for like when they started making the shorts on their own, the only ones that stayed from beginning to end were Moe and Larry. Curly was there through like 1947, then had a stroke.
Okay.
And so Shemp, who's actually Moe and Moe and Curly's older brother, came in because he was actually originally part of the act, and then left to go do his own thing. So that's when Curly came in, and then Shemp died of a heart attack in like 56, and so they got Joe Besser, who was, in my opinion, the worst of the Stooges, because he refused to get like hit and all that, like basically refusing to do any slapstick. So Larry had to take the brunt of it. And then he left after they stopped making the shorts, and then when they did some features in the 60s, and then a guy named Joe Dorita, who they nicknamed Curly Joe, because you already had Curly and you already had Joe, so why not just combine the two?
Yeah.
Like honestly, he was funny. He was different. I liked him.
Yeah, that was that's what I remember. The time that I watched was when they did the full featured films. Well, were they? Because what's a full feature film today? Like an hour and a half? You would expect. Weren't those only maybe like 40 minutes?
I mean, the features they did in the 60s, they were like an hour and 15, hour 20, which still counts.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I know one of them had I forgot the name of it. Cause it's a weird name that's like Adam West was in it, and when I found out about that, I was like, because Adam West Batman was my favorite show growing up. So, like hearing that he was in this movie is like, oh, okay, I'm in. I'm watching this one.
Man, how did you? What were you watching? Is this something one of your parents, always had like let you like had already? Because I don't remember none of these as a kid. Like maybe it was. I also grew up in probably a little bit different of a household.
I had cable as a kid.
Oh, well, I did too. When I would stay at my dad's house, I like Rugrats. I remember, like, I didn't know Nickelodeon was cable until I would talk about Aqua Teen. I mean, Rocket Power and the Rugrats and stuff like that. They're like, "Oh, you was spoiled. You had cable." I was like, like we didn't have it. I remember the Gargoyles, but that's the kind of shit I was watching as a kid. Maybe that shows you the lack of intellection between the two of us and why you're. Because I knew right when my first time meeting you, because I think I even said it to you at the back door. I was like, "You did theater or something, didn't you?" I'm pretty good with calling that kind of stuff. I've always wanted a talent, and I would always, all my friends and everybody was around had talent and was skilled and knew the art instead of me just. I'm like a musician that plays by the ear, doesn't know how to read music, but can kill it.
Oh yeah.
I know it's funny. I know it's unique. I know what sounds good. Can't structure that on a paper. I can't tell you why. I can hear it and do it, but I mean I can't do it, replicate it. Obviously, you've seen my open mics.
I mean, it's like half the jokes I write. It's like I just kind of get the premise out and then kind of have to improvise something on stage. It's like I don't know how to write this without making it too wordy because just from, especially doing improv and doing theater, it's like you want to build up, but it's like you don't want to build too much up in stand up. Just if the payoff doesn't pay off.
Yeah. Well, that's something I think I learned real quick. When I decided one night I was at I had to do. I was doing a show for Apotheosis, and I think I got picked up to do like my very first actual show. That wasn't an open mic. It was more like an open mic, really. But I didn't get paid or anything. But it was like I'll give you 7 minutes, and I had a bunch of shit that I written. But I didn't have I needed to test them. So the night before I went to the Apotheosis open mic, and I just did straight my punchline, just the last few words, and I just thought about what would make them short, and then I was like, okay. I went through and I was like, all my jokes that I was using, I tried just to find the funny and take everything down and try to shrink it as much as I could, and I would say it, and then I would take a word out, say it out loud. And if it didn't make any sense, I'd have to put that word back in and go to another one. I really started that way. Now I've gotten to a point to where I can I still write as a storyteller. I write everything down because you write and talk differently. So I'll write my story down that I think is funny. And then I'll go through and find what is funny. What is the funny in it, like the structure. And that's why I became, I guess, so much of an open one-liner and really enjoyed it. I'm still feel like there's still a piece that I'm missing up in here that I gotta get. Once it clicks, it'll really click because I've gone through all the different kinds of ways to write.
Yeah, because I know that's part of how I got away from like just doing one-liners because I was a one-liner comic for a couple of years, and then one night at Heavy Anchor, Ella Fritz said to me, "It's like, I'm pretty sure there's more to you than just doing one-liners," and so I actually sat down and started to actually write jokes and. It took a few months, but I actually kind of started figuring out what my style is.
Well, I did a story set. I did a couple story sets this past couple of weeks at the. I did it at Tonarios. I had to switch it up. I've got to switch it up at those bar mics and those some of the shows. And we'll be honest, there's two different crowds, just like Gary Owens says. Gary Owens will tell you there is a difference between a white crowd and a black crowd, and you go up there. And you ain't funny. Do you remember watching the Apollo back in the day? I wanted to bring that back when I was doing the Bobby show. I wanted to bring back the clown that, like, if you sucked, you came up there and an alarm went off and a clown and pushed you off with a broom and shit, and all the people in the crowd would boo you and tell you to get off the stage. That's what I grew up thinking comedy was. Like, Def Comedy Jams and the Apollo was what I learned. And yeah, I feel it's a lot easier to get laughs at certain clubs than it is than at the others, especially these people that spent $5-10 at the door to get in to an open mic. They want you to bring the funny.
Oh yeah,
and like I noticed when I really knew it was different is when I seen Will O'Donnell go up, and I know he's a killer and he kills it. Every other time I've seen him, he went up there, still got laughs. It's not like he bombed, but you could tell there was it wasn't going as smoothly and easily as he thought it was. I think he kind of got used to that because you see him come back next week and rearrange some shit, and boom, killed it.
Yeah.
Like he just knew, all right, I gotta adjust this. I can't do this. They like this instead of this.
Yeah,
That's much truer of a room. I think it's a much more honest room. And I did some story sets because I grew up in a black family, and I just talked. I basically was self-deprecation. I was like, well, I was the pinkest one in the fucking school and at my house. That's right. I went to school with you. I peed with the best of them. I stood a little closer than everybody else, but and yeah, and they liked that. They enjoyed that much more than just my shock and awe, abortion, necrophilia stuff.
Yeah, it's like one thing I've learned because I did back in November. I did one of Precious Dorsey's shows at a sports bar, and it's like I did my regular stuff because it's like, this is my first time really doing a show for a black crowd, like, and so I just went up there and did my thing, and for the most part they liked it.
Yeah.
Some things didn't hit as well as others, and afterwards. Sean Don, who's very hilarious.
Yeah.
Like because he was talking to me after my set. He's like, "So now, did you actually change anything up for your sets?" Like, no. It's like, good. Don't keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. I just I think I changed my set more from when I'm writing the joke and what the joke actually was originally. If I could use that more, I have to go back to use that raw stuff. That's how I change it, because usually I'm trying to take some stuff out to where I don't offend these Karens and cancel culture hawks that are out there today that are like gonna videotape you and put you on Facebook and cancel me before I even fucking book a real fucking show, before I ever even feature a show. It'd be. So I really do try to clean it up, because my first open mic, I pissed off Alec Blodgett's old lady. She wanted to walk. I was like, if I would have gotten somebody to walk on my very first night, I would have taken it as a compliment at first. But now, the more I've studied and researched and really watched, one that really opened my eyes was Ralphie May at the Comedy Store, I think it was, or the Comedy Shop. He does like a 2-hour long fucking session with all these new comics. It's all new comics that are coming up, and improv people and stuff like that. And he sits down and he gives you what it's gonna be. He tells you how it is, and like what to do, what not to do. He ain't gonna tell you how to write. He tells you how to set up your jokes, where you need to place your jokes and stuff like that. But he tells you the actual game of the game that you're playing, basically, if you want to look at it that way. Like, don't fuck the help when you're at a club. Don't you need to be able to do clean. How are you ever going to get noticed if you can't do nothing clean? So now I've worked on, like, I've been trying to really put together. I read Rob Durham's book, because I got him coming on tomorrow, I think. And Thursday. He's coming on Thursday, and so I ordered his book and I read it. And something that he really said was, punch out and really make sure you got a solid 3 minutes. And that's how I've kind of always been, but I've always put myself at 5. I was like, you need a solid 5 minutes. And anytime I felt like I had 5 minutes, I'd put those jokes aside and I'd start on a new set. I just did that recently at the Scorecard, Mary Jane's, and bombed. I mean, it was worse than fucking, me and Ronaldo say? It was worse than Christmas Morning at Tennessee in Nashville. It was bad. Like, I even said at the end, like, I was at the end, like, yeah, I'm done. This is bad. And I knew it was bad, but one thing that no one could take away from me is I tried all new jokes.
Yeah.
All new stuff, and that's what the open mics are for. When you see people not trying new stuff, it really annoys me, because somebody else could have got on that list and got that time.
Yeah.
That had some new stuff to work on.
Especially like when it's like a bar mic. Like when you're doing a mic at a club,
you want to bring it because you're trying to get put on.
Yeah, you're trying to get put.
Club.
Yeah, bring the A material to the club. If you're just doing the show at the bar, that's when you definitely try the new stuff there. Like when you're doing like at the Funny Bone or whenever it opens back up, Backdoor, like
I can't wait till the back door opens.
I know that I think that was my favorite club to perform at.
It was. I've said that for time and time again, and that's just because the biggest reason. Yes, it's a great club and it's always a good crowd. But Mike Tobin is the big reason I like that one so much. I have never once met the owner of Helium. Never once met the owner of Funny Bone. You know, these people, they don't make themselves known to these comedians. And Mike Tobin, he's right there and he's helping you. He's offering you opportunities. Like, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. Oh, a year. Oh, you're putting in the work though, or not even. This is my first month, and he gives them an opportunity. You can see the names go back up there. He could pick the same people over and over that he knows is funny. He could pick, the more established people, and he does. There's a certain handful of them that he does.
Oh yeah,
he could stick with straight like the Funny Bone. Let's be honest. They have a handful that's always going to be, anytime they sign up, they get on.
Yeah.
Or damn near they get on, which is cool. I get that. They've earned that. That's kind of how I feel at the back door,
Yeah, because it's like, it's like Nick Kuvar signs up, he's always on. Will O'Donnell signs up, he's always on. I sign up, I'm always on.
Yeah, and that's the big thing that I think that is with like I do anytime he's had me host, like he had me host one weekend for Mo Alexander and another weekend for this one guy, where it was a lady, and in all honesty, I wasn't really impressed, but I couldn't. It was kind of a girl's thing. It was a girl, an older 50s like white woman.
Was it Christine Stedman?
No, I think I remember her. I think I actually came there that weekend for her. I don't know who.
Oh yeah, because the weekend she headlined was when they had the roast battle.
Yes, not her, but another one, and it was I didn't really pay attention too much. I don't know all this thing. I sat at the bar, got drunk, and sat in my car and got stoned. It was like my first one, and I was super nervous. I was just working on my material the whole time, and but he gives opportunities, and I never charged him. He once tried to pay for my shit, and I was like, oh no. He's like, no, for hosting. I was like, like no, the stage time is enough at the point and at the position of many of us comics are back at now because of COVID. We don't. It's not about the money at this point in time for me. It's more about the stage time. I don't care about the money. I'm not in this for the money. I make good money. Like I said, I don't have a problem with money. I can make it. I don't mind working for it. It's just the stage time I want.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why with doing backdoor, it's like even there were even some weeks where I did make the list because I slept through the sign up and I still just showed up on Thursday anyway just to hang out.
Yeah, that's the one club that I would go and do that. And I've thought about going up to the Funny Bone, but my favorite open mic is on Tuesdays, and Funny Bone, is on Tuesdays. So I like the Word Up. That's my favorite one.
I've actually not done Word Up yet, and I feel bad because literally Legacy Bar and Grill is exactly 5 minutes from my house.
That's bad. That is bad, bro, because it is. Just put it this way. Last weekend, they had to lock the doors and not let people in. It was a full house for COVID restrictions. Like they weren't allowed to and they were on it. Put your mask on. There was like 2 or 3, dudes walking around making sure you had your mask on and everything like that. And it was.
Oh yeah, especially because I know last Tuesday was the anniversary of the mic.
Yeah, it was her first time back because her and the other guy that does it with her. Because she was supposed to come on, but she's out. She had to go out to Chicago for something. I'm sure she got picked up for, had to do something because she's really been in the news and stuff a lot lately, which is great. So I had her coming on. She was supposed to be on Saturday. She was supposed to come over, and we were supposed to do it. Since I started this podcast, I've been trying to plan this with her and Tenario and Eddie, Reggie.
Yeah.
They all hit me up regularly, but I was like, just give me a date. You tell me the date as long as it's after I get off. Tell me the date. I'll put it on. Whatever. Open mics, I won't care about that as long as I don't have a show.
Yeah.
Cool. And they realize that I live an hour away. They're like, oh shit. And people from the city, you guys from the city, y'all don't you see that? It's like it's not 5 minutes away. Oh hell no. I lived in the country most of my life out in Carolina. It's an hour drive to get to your groceries, the grocery store, you know? So anywhere you want to go, it's an hour drive. So I'm used to it. And I got tired of the city. You guys can have that noisy sirens and don't know if you're getting your car jacked by some fucking meth head and or not a meth head. It just be a motherfucking car jack.
Yeah.
You know? Like my stepdad, black guy, grew up down there as a kid. I would asked him about a club that I was going to go to a mic for, and he's like, I don't take my black ass down there during the day. You better not go down there. I was like, oh, it's cool. It's an open mic. He's like, you better check the records, bro. We got numbers that prove statistically that it's not, you know. And I'm like, damn, it is bad when you really look at the news. Like, I think my old lady was pointing it out. She's like, you know, for the past 2 weeks, every night I read the news on my phone, and there's a kid or a teenager shot dead in St. Louis City. I was like, yeah, and that's not like the half of it. You know, if they put all the bad shit that happens daily in the news out here, it would take up the whole hour.
Yeah.
It would. So more power to you. I miss being close to everything. When I lived in the cities and like lived on the beach, that's what I missed the most. I missed living on the beach, like being able to ride my bike anywhere I go. Me and my dog just pull me on my skateboard to the bar and shit. I miss that. But yeah, you can have that. And y'all's the drivers.
Oh yeah, no, St. Louis drivers are terrible.
Jesus, like I hate going down there. Just as soon as like you get past 55 a certain direction, like a certain spot, it's like, all right, it's 100 miles an hour down here, and they're just like, there's always that one guy that's.
Oh, yeah, that's one thing I'm noticing because I moved. I used to live in St. Louis County, so I was driving 20, 25 minutes in to go to Mike's every week, and then back at the end of October, I moved to the city, to live in the house with my best friend and all that. Because her mother also lives with us, and then we went to get donuts one night, and her mom drove. I was never more scared in my life with riding with somebody else.
You were like me with Nate, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, make sure this thing works.
And it's like, I'm not the greatest driver. Like I've managed to be in accidents going 5 miles an hour backing into someone and do damage, but the one time I wrecked my car into somebody else, did no damage at all.
Hit a truck with a steel body, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll fuck a car. I've wrecked a rear-ended a Ford, old school Ford, like 250. Had like big old hitch on it. You know, one of those big fucking hitches for the trailers that hang all down, like the shin buster when you walk around the back. And it peeled the front end of this little Honda Civic I had, like a sardine can. It rolled it. Is how good it was. It was actually quite impressive. Like when I got out and was like, oh goddamn, like that's perfect. It rolled steel. I was like, ooh.
I know. Luckily, when I wrecked in the back of that truck, I hit someone who was like my age because I was 19 when I wrecked it, and like the guy who I hit was even willing to give me a ride home.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
See, it's like it's better to hit someone your own age, unless like you're a crabby old man.
Yeah, well, that crabby old man is gonna. I haven't been in many wrecks. I don't have any points on my shit. The guy that I hit didn't have insurance. I did. I've slid in ice. You learn if you ever go to the East Coast to Virginia Beach or North Carolina. When they get below, if it gets below 30. Post office shuts down. Like, they don't have salt or plows out there either. You know, we don't get that much snow, so they don't really stay stocked with all that stuff. So shit shuts down and people act like a nut. Like they don't know how to drive at all in the snow or in the weather. So this little car in front of me did some shit and like whipped it and like you did a little fishtail into this little parking lot next to it and the guy in front of him slammed on brakes and I fucking hit the it wasn't even ice yet, but it was slick and cold, and I slid right into the back of his shit. My little Honda Civic just like perfectly, but that big old truck with whatever he had in the back of it with the weight doing 30, 40 miles an hour. He was able to lock it up and it stopped. Big old fucking mud tires on it and shit. Easy. And yeah. And he didn't have insurance. So I was like, oh, wait, you ain't got insurance? Piss off, bro. Like, well, you want to call the cops then? Are you sure you don't want to call the cops? Because it's illegal. It's a felony charge in North Carolina without driving without insurance and drinking and driving. First charge, 30 days in jail.
Yep.
Like out here, y'all got it easy with the DUIs. Like you can get out of that with a misdemeanor if you pay enough. Like my old lady, she got one when she was young and dumb, and her friend took her to a party, and her friend got drunk when it was supposed to be the DD. And then she had to go home, and she tried to drive. She messed up. No. I never do that because where I'm from, you get 30 days in jail the first time you do it. It don't matter if your last name's Biden, Trump, Obama. You're going to jail for 30 days because that's the right that they have to hold you to the habeas corpus law or whatever, the right to a speedy trial. And it's like you sit there and then they hit you with the book. It's a felony charge. If you don't go back to jail, you're on probation. And it's like it's basically like you see these guys that get busted with meth out here, and they get out of jail and they have to go through all this like safe tops and all that other stuff. I've worked with a couple of them. It's like they're on these pills that if they drink alcohol, they get like sick or something. And if they do any kinds of drugs, they're tested like every other day. It's like, God damn. And I can't do that. I can't do meth either because, I mean, unless Mike Ratcliffe's here. Just kidding, buddy. You know I love you.
Oh, yeah.
I really like Mike. He's really...
Oh, yeah. Mike's a sweetheart.
Yeah, me and him have really become buddies.
I know. When I found out he got a hosting gig at Helium, I was like, damn.
And, dude, just seeing that, like, 5-6 shows that he did, like, getting that stage time that he did, he's been fucking killing it. Just murdering it. Just, I mean, people are applauding, like, he's bringing down the house. I don't know. It shows you something, like, him getting to do those 5 shows in a row. Because he was nervous about it. Because he had to do clean, too.
Yeah.
Because TK, I guess, is clean. Which I didn't know he was. I thought he was a dirty comic.
I mean, even, like, most places, if you're hosting, they want you to be clean.
Well, yeah. Yeah, true. And that's why I've been working on clean. It was like, because like I said, that Ralphie May thing, he tells you, he's like, you got to get fucking clean. If you can't do a clean, he's like, don't learn how to write comedy in dark. Don't learn how to write dirty, dark comedy. Because once you learn how to do that, you can never go back to clean. It's like, you just can't. And no one knows why, but so learn while you're learning how to write comedy your first couple years. Actually learning, like getting it. It says, do clean first because you can always make something dirty.
Yeah.
It's like, but trying to take something that the subject and the premise and everything is dirty, you can't clean that up usually because the whole premise of the joke is filth. So.
Yeah, that's why it's like for the most part I'm fairly clean. Like unless I'm talking about my asexuality, which isn't really that dirty because I'm talking about how I'm not having sex.
Yeah, true. Which that's something because I even asked my pops a couple days ago. I was like, we explain asex because my real father, me and him are like Sanford and Son, best friends. We're cool. He's gay and married to a buddy, not buddy. We're buddies now. I didn't know him. It's not like he hooked up with my best friend or anything like that. But his husband, my stepfather, Chandler. They got married when North Carolina finally allowed the law. He was one of those people that fought for it and everything. So, and he didn't. He's old too. He's older. So when I asked him about it, he's like, they don't like to have sex. It was like, he's like, I can't. He's like, I don't know. I don't have any. So I was like, you know what? I'm glad I'm having him on because I'm gonna ask because I think a lot of other people out there just don't understand it. Like you get these and people that don't understand something especially Americans. Tend to be afraid of it and to bash it and to like belittle it.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a thing in the white European community to do that, the tribalism thing. And that's one thing I try to stick away from. Like I grew up calling a black man dad and a gay man dad, right? Because my mom married my stepfather and I've known him my whole life. So I've been pretty cultural. I'm lucky because there are kids out there that don't. So what explain it in your eyes and opinion? What's the deal?
So yeah, basically,
Learn me something.
basically, asexuality is like basically the lack of sexual attraction to people. Plain and simple. It's like, like we can be romantically attracted. Like I can find like a woman beautiful and like want to have like a relationship with her, but it doesn't mean I necessarily want to have sex with her.
Okay. And is this something that's been studied very much, like scientifically? Is it like a gene, or is it just what?
I don't know if there's a gene or not. There hasn't been too much science put into it from what I've been kind of doing a little bit of my own research, but
Because you would have thought, like the way religion is, that would have been the thing they were going for to learn about. That they're like, wait a minute, there's people out there that don't want to have sex because they've broken the rules. That's hacking the system.
Yeah.
Like, that is man's downfall.
that Catholic upbringing did me in.
So like yeah, that's how I feel about it. When I learned about it first, and it wasn't when I met you. I've learned about it just because I live in 21.
Yeah.
And, it was like they're hacking it. They're beating the system. Like we have to. No, that's the man's trait to fuck everything up. That's been my downfall every time I've been in trouble. Yeah, I may be charged and done some dumb shit for something else, but it was always to get a girl or to impress a girl to get laid. Like that's all it was all about for a long time. That sounds really bad now, but I say it out loud. But but if and you're just like, fuck it. You're not even paying attention.
Yeah.
You're just like, you know how much money I could have right now?
I know. It's like how much money I've saved not having to like, get prostitutes or just like take a girl to dinner. Or anything.
Yeah, but then again, you're not stimulating that economy. That's
No.
the number one job since man.
Yeah, no, because usually most of my money just goes to like the used bookstore.
Yeah, I always go when I'm looking at. That's the two things. My wife would get annoyed with me because she likes to. We try to do it like once or twice a week. We'll go to different Goodwills and thrift stores, and I look for vinyl, and she goes and finds all kinds of shit to fill our house up with for some reason, and books. And every now and again, I come across the gem, and I haven't found one yet. Really, that's really really good. But I seen that Nate Barron got a fucking shit ton of like. Different comedy books. I was like, man, I would like just to read them because I've heard a lot of people mention them and stuff. And I'm if it's not on audio, I don't really fucks with it because reading, they say I'm ADHD. There's a whole conspiracy that it's not real. I can tell you this: I can try to read a book, and read the same page 5 times and still not tell you what the first paragraph was. But if I'm at work and I'm being busy at work, and because I've been doing it so long now, and I know the motions like a robot, it's just like, okay, this is next. I do this, I do this, I do this, and that's just like a zombie motion. I listen to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts, so and I can really absorb the information. I feel more than that, and that's what I ask this all the time. I was like, does it count? Do the audiobooks count as reading? Because I get more information than from reading it. Maybe not get. I think the only thing that reading a physical book does is helps your literature. I mean, as far as your vocabulary, your vocabulary, and it really helps expand that.
Yeah, because I know the last time I went to the bookstore, one of the books I bought it's basically about the history of like the improv, the comedy club that was in New York and is in LA right now.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was most of it was written by Bud Friedman, who was the founder and is the owner of the club, and then there's different. Basically like interview portions with a lot of different comics like Jay Leno, Billy Crystal.
So it's basically like the new Comedy Store documentary, but in a book form.
But yeah,
back then with the legends of Jay Leno and them. That actually sounds like a good book.
Yeah.
How big is that one?
Fairly big.
Nice.
Yeah, like I started it over the weekend after finishing up a couple of books I was reading, and then I'm still only a couple pages in.
Yeah. If I took my prescription, like if I went and got my prescription that I'm supposed to, like for like the Adderalls and the Vyvanse or whatever they put me back on, I can definitely read a book. Then I'll just sit right down and fucking. I don't get the party drug with that because I take some of those Addies and I'm like cleaning my house, reading. I can actually comprehend it, which is horrible. I just don't like the fucking narcotics. You know, I smoke weed. I've done. Believe me, I've done it. I've done the drugs. I've tried most besides the heroines and opiates because they make me puke anytime I hurt myself and they've given me like Vicodin or OxyContin or something like that. Is like it makes the pain worse because I'm heaving over the toilet, puking and itching and shit. So
Yeah.
it doesn't help my back or whatever injury I have. So I can't take opiates. Never liked them. Herb is my thing. I like some psychedelics every now and again, once or twice a year. Do like some LSD or some mushrooms or DMT was the one I did last time about 6 months ago, and I'm good for a while. Like I got some shit to work on right now. That's how I do it. Because when I do it, and that's the best thing about my house out here is, you know, LSD. I end up on my driveway, butt naked, laying out there with the dogs and shit. My wife pulls up from work. Because no neighbors can see me and shit.
Yeah.
I really like this over the city, unless I had like a high rise flat and like, because I'd helped my buddy and his moving company for these really rich people, and this dude had bought like almost the top floor, like 4 units, and like you could see the arch real close, and I was just like, holy shit, this is so nice. And it was like one of those floors that walk out, like, and the glass is all right there. So it's like, oh man, being a builder, I was like, how the fuck did you build this? How did they set these windows? It's so tall.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. I'm a little bit scared of heights once I get past the 3rd floor. Like, I'm not going up there without a harness, you know? But you make good money once you get past the 3rd floor, union wise. I think they up you $15 a floor or whatever.
Oh wow!
From what I've been told, like you get hazard pay pretty much. Like carpenters that started the Empire State, they could retire as millionaires by the time they got up to the top floors and stuff. And it's not all about working real hard. Like it's not fast, get it done real fast. It's all about safety. Then it's like, every step needs to be planned. Everything needs to, you're not up there just banging some shit away and turning around. And, everything's got emotion. That's why those guys get paid so much, though. It's usually those old seasoned vets that
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they know exactly the exact spot on their pencil line to cut for perfect precision. It's like architecturally genius sometimes, especially those really tall ones, because you can't really have too much fuck ups in those structurally because it's up there. It has to be structurally.
Or else you'll end up with another towering inferno.
Yeah. Well, that's one of my favorite conspiracies. Not like favorite, actually. That's a horrible thing to say. But yeah. So, when did you realize this asexual thing?
I've actually discovered about 2 years ago. Mostly because I really didn't know it was a thing, because a lot of people don't know it's a thing.
Yeah.
And so I was, kind of found out it was a thing, and was reading about it, and I was like, this kind of tracks with a lot of what I've been experiencing. And then it's like, oh, I totally get it now.
So you didn't have friends and stuff that tried to make you feel like you needed to prove yourself to lose your virginity or anything like that?
No, not really, because most of my friends in high school, we were all virgins.
Oh, so it wasn't even a competition. See, that was the I was kind of a jock, not in a jock way. Like I wasn't that kid that was like, I didn't play on the football team. I was the basketball player, but I played. John Matty played, and you see those kinds. Those are the guys that play. We didn't have a good team, so yeah, it was a competition to get chicks, especially my best friend we adopted, my brother now, and he was a wrestling captain or something like that, and a pretty boy.
Ooh boy.
And it was a competition of who could get the chicks first and the most, and it was a really horrible thing. That's why I'm so scared of having kids now. I was like, I was such a horrible fucking kid if I'm gonna get a daughter, and I don't know if I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I know. It's like my brother was always, been like, when are you getting a girlfriend? Like, I don't know, whenever, because my brother dated the same girl for like 4 years before they broke up, and because like they started dating when I was a junior in high school, and they broke up like my second or third year of college, and so they were together a long while, but by the end of their relationship, like it was getting pretty toxic because
they usually do if they're not gonna last.
Yeah.
It's hard. We have that age. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Because then after that, my brother kind of just dated a couple, nothing big, no major relationships for like a year and a half, and then started dating this girl who had a child with one of his ex best friends. And
that guy, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like they quit being friends before he even had a daughter. So. But part of the reason their relationship didn't last because, like, the only thing my mom would want to talk about with him involving the relationship was the 3-year-old girl because, that's the closest thing my mom's getting to a grandkid.
Oh yeah, true.
Because my older sister has been married it'll be 7 years later this year. She and her husband don't want kids.
Yeah, hey, me and my wife just decided that it might be time to start working on them during COVID.
Yeah.
It was probably not the smartest decision. We were like, it's going to end. We might as well go ahead and stop taking the birth control. And now I'm taking these pills that help me, I guess, create more oomph. But yeah, so.
Yeah.
So have you had any relationships? Have you ever tried or did you?
I mean,
no one's ever tried to throw it at you. No chick's been like, "Oh, we'll see," and tried to like.
I had one girl who had a crush on me in high school, but I didn't find out about this till afterwards. Like it wasn't even it wasn't even obvious to anyone else in the class at that point. Like she was hiding it, and so like I met her like randomly out of the blue one afternoon, like the summer after we graduated, like a year or so after we graduated high school. We started talking, and then she talked about how she had a crush on me, and then leaned in and like kissed me and all that, and I was like, oh boy, I don't know how I feel about this. Which probably should have been a sign about being asexual, but it's also may have just been a sign of I just feel very uncomfortable right now.
Well, yeah, I can imagine you get worked up to the 40-year-old virgin movie. That's they portray it in a comedy, but the way that guy, like how he just had bad experiences. It took a long time to get into it, and he's seen sex is such a thing in society, like it's everywhere. It's on all the commercials because sex sells. It's all over fucking everything. And porn, I mean, it's so easy. It's at every fingertips, right? So it's always being thrusted on us. And and you've beaten that for one. Like, porn is a real issue, supposedly. I was reading a bunch of these articles about how porn, they were doing a lot of studies on it, and especially with lockdown, because porn has gone like skyrocketed, I guess, on the views. So, and it's like they're seeing an addiction addict kind of response in it, like the brain and the chemicals and from what they know, and it's could get pretty nasty. And you've beaten that. Like you don't even. That's just, it kind of makes me jealous. But you know what? You're just someone that didn't go through that and got married. And now you're like me, see, because I'm married. And you lose your sex drive after getting married, so completely. You're just like, nah, been there, done that. No, I'm kidding.
It's like hard to lose what I didn't have.
Yeah. No, my wife's still pretty hot. What was it? Do you know any other? Is there a community?
So I'm part of a lot of asexual groups on Facebook, and then I know some other people who are asexual because Teal's also asexual because he even posts jokes about it on Facebook sometimes. And then I know of a couple other people. I'm not going to name drop them because I don't want to.
Yeah. Is there like an asexual closet? Do people?
It's more of the
Because I seen you catch that flack over the turbo.
turbo
virgin
virgin. Oh
thing.
God, yeah, that was yeah. Oh man, that was always fun because back in October that was my 1 year anniversary of coming out as asexual, and so I shared in one of the groups, and then because it was a public group on Facebook, so people could just see it and share it, and then that's when the asshole from Flint, Michigan, was like,
and you wonder why your water's fucked up.
yeah, I know. I just assumed that they drank the water.
He said, "What is there, lead in it?" "Oh, I'm cool. What's a little lead? I drink out of the hose all the time." "It's not from drinking out of the hose, idiot." The water that comes through the hose.
I know. Luckily, when all that shit went down, it was the few days before Halloween.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah.
You
So
it.
like literally on the day of Halloween, I went to one of the costume stores, and I like my costume. Like I bought my costume. Like I got the suit for the Homelander from The Boys, and then just bought like a different cape and mask. And basically went as Turbo Virgin, and I was because like a lot of my friends were at the Heavy Anchors Halloween party, and I was basically the hit of the party with all my friends because like just for like turning something negative into probably the best thing that happened to me all year.
You owned it. You're like, yeah, I'm a virgin. So what? I've never had a cotton Q-tip shoved up my dick and swabbed because I was with a risky chick. Hey, and don't worry about it, all right? You don't need to ask why I know what a cotton swab feels. I did a bit about that, about how when I was doing storytelling, of how easily it would be, how I realized that men really aren't as big and bad as they think, because there's something as small as a Q-tip can bring any of us to our knees.
Yeah.
Like, after my first sexual STD, thinking we had an STD, me and the chick I was with, and she was sleeping around, I was sleeping around, and got the clap, but it was easier to get rid of than a cold. Lady gave me some pills. She said, "You might get a little hot, like nice," and I was like, I'll just jump in the water. Like I got the ocean right here. But yeah, so after that, I was like, oh yeah, we're wearing condoms from now on. I ain't fucking around. Like that was horrible. I didn't know what old lady was doing. I thought she wanted to inspect the junk because she told me to drop the drawers. I come out that bitch like, da-da-da-da. And she said, all right. And she said, come stand right here. And I should have been paying attention, but not the brightest person out there. She kneels down. I'm like, okay, she's about to get a real good look at it. Puts her hand up like this up against this cabinet and has me backed in between the corner of the cabinet and grabs it. And then like where I'm there, she like does her elbow and grabs my shit and swabs it to where I can't back out and back away or go anywhere. And all I could do was go, oh, and grab her over the shoulders. And I was like, this feels weird.
Oh boy.
Well, no one warned me. No one told me. It was a very traumatizing event.
Well, at least now I know if somehow I ever have to get tested for the clap.
Yeah, they better find a new way. God damn it! After COVID, y'all got plenty of different tests y'all have tried. You should have it figured out by now. Damn. Do you know anyone that's ever been asexual that came out as asexual and then went back into the closet because they found out they weren't? Like, does that happen? They just find their soulmate all of a sudden?
I mean, not really, because with being asexual, it is
it's like a gay thing. You're born that way.
Yeah, and then there's also a couple different spectrums where like you can be like in a relationship with someone for a long time and then kind of feel like willing to have sex with them and have a little bit of sexual attraction to them, and then then there's like people who are like asexual and just want to have like a romantic relationship with no sex, and then there are people who are like, yeah, I don't care about sex or having a relationship. I'm being single my whole life.
Yeah, that's gonna be those people that want to have the romantic part and then not the physical part is you'd have to be okay with your old lady then, because that's kind of rude. I would think you're gonna do all that nice romantic you'd be a perfect man. And then she's like, oh my God. And that's what turns a woman really on, is being that perfect guy. A lot of men don't realize that. Treat them nice, tell them they're pretty, hold the door for them, respect them, and listen to them. And then I promise you that will turn them on more than anything you've ever seen in one of these pornos. I mean, it's just the way it is. Like, that's what women get off to, not when they're watching porn, because they watch some freak nasty shit too. But when they're like actually meet a guy, and that's what really they like. So that's the best way to get them too. Just be honest with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned that, and that's not even trying to be like, oh, fucking the because I was a dog, but that's how I was a dog. Chicks would like ask you that question. So what are we doing? What are we doing? You want to take me home and introduce me to your parents? No, I think we're just gonna have fun this weekend.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes you think you're like straight or gay or whatever, and then like you get into the relationship and start like doing sexual things. You're like realizing you're not liking it, and then when you realize you're asexual, and then sometimes that can be the deal breaker for a relationship, and sometimes partners can just be like, you know what, I can understand. We'll do our best to make things work.
Yeah, I've always like I'm the type after getting my heart broken by a girl cheating on me, and leaving me for another guy, I got this in my head. I was like, I'm never gonna ever let a woman do that to me. I'm even married now, and I don't go through my wife's phone. Anytime she goes out parties with her friends, I'm like, just wear a condom, cause I don't want you bringing nothing back to me. And that's the best part about being married, bitch. Like, wear a condom. And I truly feel like that. If she found someone that rocked her world physically, and she could make it just a physical thing, and there was no emotion involved or attached, which is really hard for humans to do that, because we like property. We like property, like ours, just mine. So it's hard for but there are people out there that are just that like that. They're like, I just want to have sex. He or she gets my rocks off. He's the one that treats me the way I want to be treated and everything. And I'm cool with that. Like, I'm one of those guys. It's kind of a hippie kind of mindset, I guess. Just like, if that's what you want. Yeah. You're not gonna stop somebody from feeling the way they feel about you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're straight, gay, asexual. When it comes to friendships, you can't force someone to be your friend or have a relationship with you, unless you trap them at a podcast. You know.
So that's what this is all about.
Yeah. No. But that's cool. That's cool. You ever get into these conspiracies that are going on out here? Not like the QAnon quacks. I think they're all upset right now. They're all hurting. They're licking their wounds.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm one of those people who believes Epstein didn't kill himself, but
that's not a conspiracy.
Yeah,
no, the conspiracy there is he even dead? That's the conspiracy I've always been like, because I like just questioning things, but not the QAnon stuff. I really like the CIA, FBI leaked documents or like released declassified documents. I really like those, like the UFO ones, especially since they have admitted to UFOs. Like, have you seen this? Like, the Pentagon came out and released videos and said they recovered an earthly made vehicle.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
It was on CNN and Fox and all the major ones. And then they just recently came out. The big thing that's blowing my mind right now is they've come out and said that Navy intelligence has created a machine, and they have a patent, and there's been an interview with the guy that holds the patents to it, that can fabricate it can fabricate reality. They can create its own fabric of reality and of some sort, and it takes you down that rabbit hole. Since they're now admitting it, they said that it's a ship that can basically probably time travel or jump into different realms, or they won't explain everything. But there was this old conspiracy back in the day called the Montauk Project, and there is reports about it. There's this old base with these huge satellites and stuff like that these guys said that they were from a different time. These old Navy officers or something like that said they were different times. They were radio wave technicians or something like that. But anyways, it's a big conspiracy. But their whole conspiracy was based around the fact that Nikola Tesla, and the Navy intelligence built this boat, this ship that could basically do what they're talking about now. And like people, they fucked up and tested it at its first time with soldiers on it, and like they got embedded into the steel, like they became part of the boat and shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah, all these crazy details from these people, which is the conspiracy back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, that there's no way they could create something like that. There's none of that, blah, blah, blah. But now they just came out and said they have it. They have something. What is, like, it's.
I mean, if this thing's real, I'm gonna go to the realm where I'm a famous comedian.
Yeah, but I don't know the Montauk, I believe, was time travel. That's what it was for. Is what they were doing, and I think it was. They talked about also being able to sit in this chair with these radio machines and stuff, and create. Whatever this certain people have a strong enough like psychic link, and create whatever they wanted. A monster could create out of thin air. And if that's what they're talking about, this fabric of reality, because that's what the big other end of the conspiracy is, this psychic creates this monster and it comes out of thin air and it's killing all these people on this base, and it creates this big fire, and they're trying to shut the machine down that causes it, and they can't shut it down, and they try to rip the wires out. They don't know if it's going to tear down. There's I think they even made a movie about it called Montauk or something like that, and it was a book, and it's a crazy fucking conspiracy. Obviously these guys say they're from different times. They're from the 1800s, they claim, and then they were time traveled or some shit like that. And so it was always like, oh shit. But there was a lot of bits and pieces that people went to this base that was abandoned, that they said that it was at, and found like the fire, that the building that they were talking about was all burned down, and there's a bunch of old radio wave technology and stuff in there that was in there from all the electrical cords, and it was just like, And then you start hearing this stuff. It's just like the shit with the Great Reset. Have you heard any about that on any of the videos?
No, I haven't heard that.
There's a monetary reset that they're talking about, and it was a big conspiracy, like Alex Jones does. Like the richest people in the world want to just take over the world and get rid of all personal property and have it in control of one government, okay? And you don't own anything. So the World Economic Forum, which is like the Bilderberg meetings and the Davos fucking meetings, where the richest, most powerful people come together and have these big weekends, and they just talk about the plans of what's going on in the worlds and the economies, and they make a plan. Well, they're on their website just a couple months ago. They said the Great Reset, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy about it. And it's like talking about how we're going to eat less meat. Like meat won't be, we've got to get rid of eating meat as much, getting rid of all personal property. Everything you'll need is be rented and given to you, and everything will be based off of your social credit score. Like how China's system kind of is. They're judging people by, they have a social credit score in China now, to where they analyze facial recognition technology. If you're like upset, and if they hear you saying something that goes against or that's really bad. A bunch of people got hit hard because of the Clubhouse. Have you seen this new app?
Yeah.
If they didn't censor it in China, so a bunch of Chinese figured that out and went on there and were talking in politics. Well, all their social credit scores have been fucked now and shit like that. So it's really hard for them to get approved for any kind of loan, and like they just look bad. It's like a bad smear on your name and everything, and it's hard for some businesses can refuse you and shit like that. It's really wild.
Yeah.
And then they talk about it in these like really important places with these important people. Klaus is his name. Kraus or Klaus. I forget the guy. Real fucking rich dude is the one that's running it. And everyone, we've always called him conspiracy theorists. That's all I'm really, because even I did back in the day. I was like, man, conspiracy, bro. Who cares? Let's go surf. And that was all I cared about. And then it was all those things that my friends, because they're little pothead stoners back then, and I wasn't, they were into the whole thing. And it was like, it's conspiracy. Why even waste your time on it? And now you hear shit that's happening today, and it's like, holy shit! I remember hearing about that. I remember calling these people crazy and these dudes stupid for trying to believe that. And it's like, all of a sudden, you're starting to see fabric of reality created, and aliens, like unearthly made vehicles and shit like that being released by the Pentagon, and how when Trump signed the spending bill that started the 180-day countdown to disclosure. All the intelligence groups have to come together, bring all of their evidence and information that they have on the UAPs, UFOs, and basically give it all to the Congress and Senate and and update them on everything they have to know. So that was part of the spending bill that really didn't get talked about, but you can look it up. It's real, and shit's gonna get cool, man. Like, alien, you may just be like asexual. You may just meet this alien bitch, and because they got some out of this world pussy, bro.
Oh boy.
No, but that's, I don't know. Like, I think a lot of those things get away from us in the news. Like, we're not paying attention to nothing. Like the science. I mean, I like the science end of it. Like how they've created something like that. What can we do with it? Like, more than anything, if we have a vehicle that can travel space like an alien ship, what kind of technology can we get from it? Why aren't we like everybody working on this to like, because that technology could change everything. 0 point energy or whatever they have, to where we don't need coal, we don't need oil, don't need, the vacuum of space supposedly has enough energy in it to power the world for however many years, and it's only like a square centimeter of it is all you need. But we haven't supposedly learned how to tap into it. But if these vehicles can do it, because they think that's one of the only ways we're going to be able to travel faster than the speed of light to be able to go interstellar, is using these kinds of finding these technologies and stuff. They're talking about it, and if these vehicles have that, why aren't they bringing it out for the better of humankind? Like,
Yeah.
That's what I've always wondered. Like, if we do have it, and we're talking to aliens, and this is the technology we traded, like that conspiracy, like that's why we're so technologically advanced. That's what they gave us, was some nukes to kill ourselves with, like to bomb ourselves. They couldn't have given us how to cure world hunger.
I mean, I'm sure that all the aliens they're just probably just all talking to Sigourney Weaver about how they liked her movies.
Yeah, that's probably number one on their list.
Like, Sigourney first, everybody else is on their own.
Or, well, wouldn't that be pretty cool though if they came down and they're like, yeah, we've been watching you guys forever. We really like this, and this, and they like talk about our culture like they know it and shit. And they're like, and you guys, what were y'all thinking with the Trump dude? Like, come on. And like Russia, China, like all y'all need to sit down and chill out and watch this movie with us.
Like, man, y'all have some weird taste in foods, like crow nuts. It's like, do you really need bacon flavored soda?
Yeah. Do you think that like these conspiracies that are out there today have really hurt society at all? Like the QAnon people and the Stop the Steal people and all that?
Oh yeah,
like, you think you're starting to put some cracks in our foundation as a society?
Oh yeah, because like one of the people I'm friends with on Facebook even mentioned like posted like how they were like feeling very upset about everything that happened, but they're hardcore Republican, and they basically talk about how like the Democrats like absolutely stole the election and no one's doing anything about it. It's like, that's because it didn't fucking happen. And they made this long ass post about how they're all depressed and shit. It's like, bro.
Well, I mean, I don't like how they keep saying in the media, like the mainstream media, is like, there was no election fraud, it was the most secure. Yes, there was some. There obviously was. They arrested the attorney general in fucking Texas, and she's looking at 20 years in prison for it right now. Like, there was some fraud. Be straight with us. Don't try to bullshit us. Let us know. Like, they've arrested quite a few people. Not enough to make it swing differently if the numbers are the same. Yeah. And even if they did, all of them are. Like, I don't think that our vote counts. In all honesty, I think they're going to put in the person that's going to best suit the needs that they need. And I don't think they're playing the game of right now. I think they're playing chess to where they're 4 or 5 moves ahead of us. They've had it picked out. They fucked up with picking Biden. They're like, man, we really didn't think this one all the way through. He's getting fucking old. Like, he looks tired.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen him recently? He's looking rough. You don't usually get that until the second term.
Oh yeah, it's like, well, I mean, granted, he's gonna turn like 80 next year, but it's like Franklin Delano Roosevelt did 4 terms, and it's like, because like there's video on Facebook of him doing the oath all 4 times. It's like, you know, in the first one, he's like able to do the whole oath by memory. It's like all the way up to "So help me God." And then by the last term, he's going like, it's basically looking like, "Oh, help me God," because I mean, he died like a month and a half into his 4th term.
Really? Yeah. See, I thought George Washington, our first president, set the 2-term limits.
Yeah. Well,
when did that change?
So it was never an actual like law or anything.
He just did it.
He after 2 terms he stepped down, and then that's just kind of the precedent everyone else did. It wasn't until Truman became president that they actually put in the amendment saying you can't be elected for more than 2 terms.
I was looking for a speech that George Washington did before they took over the Delaware River, where he asked no men to. He would ask no man to go further than he was willing to go, like to all of his like soldiers. Could not find it. I could not pull the quote because I wanted to do that when the siege happened. It was like, you want to know the difference between a leader and someone that thinks they're a ruler and someone that's an actual leader. This is what George Washington said. This is what Trump did. You know, Washington was one of the first ones at the head of the boat and leading the charge on a cold Christmas Eve night or something like that, where there's chunks of fucking ice in the river and shit. There's a famous painting of him, like, of him doing it. And Trump went on there, mumble jumboed some stuff, talked about, some shit, and then went and watched it in a basement somewhere in some bunker probably.
Yeah.
And it was like difference. You see the difference in what we've had today. Like, Obama was a good salesman. I don't think he was that good after you look at his numbers with all that drone bombing. I can't agree with any of them if they keep doing the war. Anytime that any of them that advocate for the war in the Middle East, they're automatically like, you can't make up for that. No good that you do for our economy, for the jobs, for our economy, no matter what you do. When you go over there doing what you're doing, the genocide that's being done over there to those people is just, it's ridiculous. We allow them to do it. We sell Saudi the weapons. See, I pay attention, but that's why I can't get into it. It was like Biden approves of it, Trump approved of it, Obama did, Clinton, Bush. It was like, fuck them. Like, I can't. You can't support that when you're taking innocent human lives. You find out how many actually kids and shit were murdered, and just innocent little kids and bystanders because they wanted to blow the whole fucking building up with some unmanned drone. Like, you get no respect for me then. You don't deserve a vote. You don't. It's how I've always looked at it. And that's, I'm one of those people.
They get less respect than Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, they get no respect at all, like none, when it comes when you support a war. I think at 2021, we've got to we're technologically advanced enough to this point to where, for one, any world disaster that we have, Fukushima or not the fucking the towers, the nuclear plant that went down in Japan or whatever years ago.
Yeah.
Why did we see that on the news for a month before anything was really done or before you see any progress? We have enough technology and the means to be able to go get those people out of there immediately. Like, all countries should have dropped their shit. Send all the helicopters, send all the shit they need. Go get that shit cleaned up. Go help these people. That's what we can do. But instead, it's like, no, we're just going to spend almost $1 trillion a year on figuring out how to kill people cooler ways. That's what our military is, and our country has done since its beginning. We're built off of genocide, and people need to recognize that America's history is bad. We had genocide of the natives, then we had it of the Africans, and now we're doing it in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't. I don't know. It's hard to take pride. I am proud. I grew up in a military family. To a point, I'm proud for what these kids that go there and become soldiers and join the military go there for. It's like it's a good reason why they think they're going in. Usually by the time they get out, they're like, "Oh, I was just going something for some politicians' greed." Like that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's like when kids getting out of high school sign up for the military. They're going in with the best intentions, and then the politicians fuck it up for them.
Oh yes, my brother was one of them. He signed up at 16. He was turning 17 this summer, going into his senior year of high school, and he did his boot camp that summer. Turned 17, finished out his senior year, and then did his AIT schooling and all that training and shit that he had to go to after his senior year, and he graduated. And it was just, you could see like the manipulation that they do and the way that they fuck these kids' heads, and like they don't want them paying attention to the news and like what's really going on. They don't teach them what's really going on. And the reason that is they have that, you can tell it. It's blatant. Don't ask, don't tell is their fucking like inside motto.
Yeah.
It's a need to know basis. Shit like that. It's like, no, not when you're talking about killing people. Like they're this national security threat thing that they stamp on anything that they don't want the public to know about is like it's gotten to the point now, and that's why there's so many conspiracies. You put a national security threat stamp on one of our diplomats that is sick and his family's sick because Russia or China targeted them with subatomic microwaves of some sort, and they're like all got this crazy poisoning, but you won't release their fucking health files, and they stamp a national security threat on their files from what's going on and what's wrong with them so that the family's doctor can fix them and treat them. That's what's happening right now. It was in the news, not on the mainstream, obviously. They talking about Trump and licking Biden's balls right now.
Yeah.
Unless it's Fox, and then it's vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that kind of shit. It's like it makes it suspicious. It's like that creates conspiracies. Why don't you come out and tell everybody what's going on? And you got these chicks, like we had that hot little blonde Kaylee McEnany, she's a crazy fucking bitch.
Yeah,
but they know how to dodge some questions and talk. And the new redhead that they got, the old redhead from the previous Democrats things, she knows how to fucking answer a question and avoid a questions. And when she gets tired of answering a question, she on it. It's like that's what's annoying is when you have these people. It's like you are a sales. It's what it's kind of is they tell you. I don't even know how to explain them motherfuckers. It's crazy what they can do. And how well they do the manipulation.
Yeah.
But I don't really care because I'm staring at her tits. But you don't have that problem, so you see it full. We're gonna need leaders like you, man.
Yeah.
I could vote for that. I know you're not gonna get caught in a scandal with some little boy in the bathroom in a porta john somewhere like the typical, Republican conservative that talks shit on the gays and then ends up being gay. Those are my favorite stories, though. Sometimes it's like, listen to this. Look at this asshole. He's been advocating against it this whole time. It's kind of like the weed industry.
Yeah.
They put so many people in jail today, and the same people that were like advocating to keep it illegal are now making billions of dollars off of it.
Or it's like you got Anthony Weiner who texted a picture of his wiener.
Oh, yeah, that was so ironic. Wasn't that just like, and then all the other shit that was going down, like, it was a perfect, I will give QAnon that. They knew, they lined that shit up really well. But then again, our government and them trying to be shady with all that Hillary shit that was going on that Julian Assange had released, which I think he's a hero and should be fucking released from prison.
Yeah.
But either or, they didn't tell us what was in his laptop, and them being that secretive about it allowed that crazy lawyer bitch. What's her name? She got real Susan or the real crazy one that you're seeing now. She came out and they found out she's nuts. Or she came out talking about that she had seen what's on the laptop and it's horrendous and all this big conspiracy that she fed into and fed the QAnon, and they did such a good job of lining that whole scandal up. You got to give it to them.
Yeah.
And the coded shit that was the only thing that caught my eye was when all the Julian Assange stuff. And then it really pissed me off. I was so pissed off at all these QAnon fucks for not supporting Julian Assange. You didn't hear one of them talking about free Julian Assange while America's trying to extradite them back here for the death penalty.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's how I knew Trump was really in on it. How he talks, how he was against the establishment. No, he wasn't. Because if he really wanted to piss the establishment off and really take a stab at Hillary and all that, and how that's a show, all that shit was a show, was because he didn't release Edward Snowden and fucking Julian Assange. If he would have pardoned them two, you would have been. Then yes, I would have been like, all right, maybe he was against the establishment. Instead, he pardoned some mercenaries that killed a bunch of fucking innocent kids and like a whole community of people.
Yeah.
So that's when you see it. I guess people just don't pay attention sometimes. It's getting annoying, really, because you hear them talk about politics, but they don't talk about nothing but how their side's better. But you ask them about a policy or something, or, well, how do you feel about this $15 minimum wage overnight? You're going to hike that up? I believe in a minimum wage being at $15 an hour, but you're going to hike that up overnight? I'm telling you right now, the restaurant industry does not have enough profit margin because of the corporations have been able to seed themselves in there so well with the pricing on bulk material that the restaurants don't have a great profit margin. They do $15 fucking hour overnight and they don't gradually raise it. It's going to shut them down, just like my old lady's job, Sweet and Sassy. It would hurt them if they had to hire all these 15-year-old girls that they have on there at $15 an hour, which I believe in over time. But you can't do it right overnight. It just can't be done. Like, it's gonna hurt the economy so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of jobs and a lot of companies they were already just breaking even or had a small profit margin, and you're gonna eat that up and put them in the hole. Now that they're already really in the hole with COVID. And it's just crazy how they keep rushing shit. It's just like, oh, we're gonna do this right now. It's like, hold on. Trump fucked it up by changing it. But that system now is in place, and you can't just flip it upside down all of a sudden without rebuilding it, because there's going to be people that are left high and dry, that get fucked, and aren't part of it. But then again, they need a restaurant exemption or something like that.
Yeah.
And I do think they need to raise the waitress fee like that. They make like $1.50, $2 an hour.
Yeah, something like that.
Like that should change. That's horrible. I did the restaurant industry for a long time, bartended, and worked as a little chef guy. And it's hard work. I don't know if you've ever worked in the restaurant industry. What do you do out there, actually,
At the Arch?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a tour guide, so I'll take people, like, on the little tour and, give them information, show them a little video, take them downstairs, and then send them to the top. And then some days I'm up at the top, and then, like right now with COVID, just making sure they keep their masks on and they're staying at their own section of windows and just tell them when it's time to go.
So do you ever get sick up there from the swaying? Does anybody ever get that kind of...
Tour guides, we don't really get sick because we're used to it.
Yeah.
But some guys, like, if it's swaying, they'll, feel a little uneasy. But we got barf bags.
Nice. I've never been up in it. But that would be a good place for you to work on material and stuff there. Then public speaking, I guess, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, because like I have some jokes I throw into my speeches.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That would be a fun one. I think I've always, besides my look, I'd have to cut my hair to get into like sales and tour guides But that's a good job that you can do if you're good with geography, too. You can go anywhere, probably, if you know what the fuck's up.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you fall into that?
So, actually, one of the improvisers, Anna Dramer, she posted on Facebook, like, November of 19, because she was trying to find a 9-to-5 job, and another improviser, Kevin Devine, who's one of the supervisors at the Arch, I was like, hey, we're hiring. So I was like, ooh, I'm stealing this idea. because I wanted to get the hell out of Jellystone.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, Jellystone. What exactly is? I've never been there. I've just seen it.
Like in the summer, it's a campground. So like we have cabin, or they have. I don't work there anymore, so I don't have to say we, but they got cabins,
Yeah.
and then RV sites, and then no tent sites, and then there's a general store where you can buy useless crap.
Okay.
And then they have like an arcade where they got some shitty games.
Oh.
And they got some lame ass activities. Like the only activities they had I liked were the dunk tank,
Yeah.
and then they had basically an inflatable that where you could just like it was like a jousting thing, so you could just like beat each other with a foam stick till you fell off the pedestal.
Yeah, I think why you didn't like the job so much is because you weren't trying to work there. It sounds like you were playing. You're not supposed to enjoy the task they have.
Well, it's like
No, if you find a job that you really love, that's what's up. Like,
Oh, yeah,
that's the way it goes.
yeah,
Like,
because when I was working there, I was in the housekeeping department, so I go in and clean cabins.
Oh yeah, no.
Which like it wasn't. It's like it's
My
the
mom owns a house cleaning company.
like the hard day is on would be on Sunday when all the cabins are checking out. So we've got to try to clean like almost 50 units in one day, and there's like 12 of us.
Yeah, I did some beach cottage cleaning and like these condo cleaning down on the beach for tourist season during the summer. It's good money. It was good money, like especially if you were good and had a um, good little crew with you. Shit, yeah, you can make a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
But not. It's hard work. Again, hard work for not what you're putting out. That's
And it's like when I started there. I started there in the summer of 2013 and started at seven. I started at 7.75 an hour. By the time I left in December of 19, I was making 10.
Yeah, I would have dipped out that bitch too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I remember I was making 5.10 an hour when I turned. The day I turned 15, I got a work permit, and I was out here for the summer. My mom got me a job at the Six Flags. I was able to get a job because my buddy Antonio, which is on the poster up there, he does the ATG and the discrepancies. He was working there, and we would catch rides together. Like my parents would share the rides, so
Yeah.
being poor, it really helped. like. But yeah, 5.10 an hour, and when you turn 16, you got a nickel raise. But that was horrible. I don't think I couldn't do it no more. I thought about trying to find something else to do from carpentry, just because it's just not happening. The only thing I could do, pay wise, I am trying to get into the actual legal cannabis industry out here. That's getting ready.
Yeah.
They've already got dispensaries put together. They've got farms out here. They've got warehouses all set up. They're looking for employees to like keep everything moving, and they're starting to get their systems all in place. But I don't know. They're gonna have to legalize it fully.
Yeah.
With the way COVID's hurt if there's no state help with the stimulus package that really helps the states, they'll have to do that because it's the tax revenue at this point. Who cares about the weed really? And I mean, if you really look at the numbers and the statistics, Portugal decriminalized all drugs and made them available under their control, so they didn't have the whole what's that crazy shit that people were shooting up thinking it was heroin, or that was like heroin, the real fentanyl. They didn't have
the shit that killed Prince.
Yeah, and they didn't have that. They have that big, huge surge over there because they have the people they can go get their drugs clean from the government controls them, so they're pure and they're the right stuff. It's not some crazy street stomped on shit that they've mixed up with a little bit of the drug, and they're ingesting this shit and it's killing them. They have a place to do it. If you get caught out in the public doing this shit out in the parks and like that, your ass is gone. But they had like a 69% addiction rate. Their communities were starting to really show it, and the communities and suburbs were turning into just ghettos and projects and stuff because no one could get good jobs. No companies could find good employees because there was so many people addicted. and after catching drug charges and stuff that's involved with drugs from when that's illegal, they couldn't find good jobs and they couldn't fill the good jobs that they had there. So what they did is they ended the war on drugs and they put all the money that they were using on the war on drugs into rehabilitation for the citizens instead, to where why these people go and do your drugs when they shoot up, smoke crack, whatever, they you're at their most vulnerable point, I believe they learned. So they know if they can get to them and really help plant those seeds of, because I've never felt like I was an addict like that. I know what addiction is. I could see how easily it was, but I've always been able to be like, I'm good. If I don't want to do a drug, I don't want to do a drug. I rarely did stuff really hard or often, luckily. But I've seen a lot of my friends have still addicted to drugs, but they learned that was psychologically, at that point when they're getting ready to do those drugs, while they're doing them, putting the pipe to their mouth or the needle in their arm, they're most susceptible to actually getting to them and actually getting them to come out of that whatever they're in and why ever they're doing the drugs, usually to escape for something, like it's to not face an issue that they've had, and they think it's like it helps them get through it, but it doesn't. They just numb the pain until with the drug, and then eventually you're gonna have to either face the pain or OD, from what I've seen in that whole thing. But yeah, they learned, and they went from 69% addiction rate down to 2% in within like 12 years. And this is like studies. It was like all pretty much just a project. It was pretty much an experiment. What's this gonna do? We don't know. And it does great. And they'll also use other kinds of they use a couple different substances that have illegal out here, and some of them are like psychedelic based that really supposedly help with alcohol and heroin addiction. Like they go and they do this 6 day stay, and they get fucking crazy, like high on some kind of substance. It's from an African tree root or something like that. And it's like some old school, like they would drink it in a tea, like ayahuasca almost, kind of something like that, like DMT. But yeah, they come out and they don't ever want to touch the drug again. Like not the one that they did, but the one that they were addicted to. And it seems like it worked. I think it's called ibogaine or something like that. There's really good studies on it, especially with alcohol. They're having great results with it from alcohol addiction, which is a really big issue in America.
Oh yeah.
Which is because we don't teach. We try to make everything so taboo in America. Like Europe, you see the kids that they're allowed to drink wine with their dinner. There isn't really an age on alcohol in certain countries, and you see that, and they're brought up around it, so they know how to be responsible. It's not a taboo thing there. It's just another thing. It's like it's a drink to them, and they know they can't have much of that drink, or it's not something they drink a lot of. Like we have things here that you do, like you smoke a cigar with your boys every now and again. You don't just sit there and puff on a cigar all day long every day. You don't go buy a pack of cigars and just all day smoking them, unless you're fucking
unless you're George Burns.
Yeah. Or Hugh Hefner. Didn't he always have a cigar?
I thought you had a pipe.
Oh yeah, he did. That's good. I got a couple pipes. So where do you see the whole comedy thing going? Do you think it's going to shift over to more, like, if COVID doesn't get under control?
I think if COVID doesn't get under control, a lot of people who are being a little less receptive to Zoom shows are probably going to be a little more willing to try. They may not necessarily like it, because as someone who's been doing a lot of Zoom stuff, like it can be hit or miss. Just a lot of it just with the delayed reactions of everybody else. So
yeah, that's the thing, is how are they? How do you still get the high?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It never really feels like I wasted my time, but it's just more like, yeah, it just feels like more like this could have gone a little bit better. Yeah. But it's like some of the mics like I've been on, there's like 10 or 11 upwards of 20 of us doing like 5 minutes, and then that the fatigue, like the regular open mic fatigue, like when we're doing it in person, it sets in over Zoom.
Yeah.
Because I did a mic a couple of weeks back, and this one started like everyone. There was about 13 of us. We all got 10-minute sets, but it started at 8 p.m. I was last. I legit fell asleep towards the end of the show. Woke up right before my set.
I was like, oh shit. Yeah, no, I couldn't. I get really bad internet out here, so I can't. I don't have high speed internet. Yeah, the charter won't come out here.
Yeah, because I know Teal is doing a thing like once a month now. It calls it Showpalooza, and I did it because it was me, Becky Polisek, I forget where she's from, and then Anna Dramer, who's an improviser, did a character called Bitch McConnell. Because since it was only the three of us who were really doing anything on the show, Teal's like, do as much time as y'all want. I don't care. So I did 15 minutes, and that was the first time I did 15 minutes in over a year. And I was like, wow, that felt good. Because most of the time when I would get booked on shows anyway, it was usually for like guest sets of like 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because like one time for Apotheosis, Tom Brown, who runs the showcase, and then handed me the open mic. Basically was like, I'm gonna book you for a guest set, but because it was like right before Christmas, and someone who was booked was like, I may not make it because of my job. So it was like, if not, then you're doing a full set that pays. It's like, sweet.
Yeah.
And the person didn't show up, so I got to do my whole time. Unfortunately, we had one person show up, so
yeah. Well,
so
yeah, you
it's
still
like
got to work some shit out.
Yeah, no, I still got to do like 15 minutes. Like,
I had Will Abels do a show. The guy that did Apotheosis. He came and stayed here after doing that show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right there when COVID first started coming around. And Will
Abels, yeah.
Yeah, I let him. He posted something asking if anyone had a place. I was like, yeah, we do Airbnb. You can come crash here. And he was heading home, like, because of COVID.
Yeah.
So he was a cool dude, though. He sat and chatted for a little while.
Yeah, because Will Abels was the last show at Apotheosis before everything shut down. Because Tom was actually supposed to be out of town for a comedy festival that weekend, and so basically after I took over the mic, I was always his first asked to guest host. So because that night it was it was like we had like 3 guest sets and then Will Abels. So it was me hosting, then Tom. It was like, fuck, it's my show. I'm doing this set. Then Gary Becker messaged him that day, or this is Gary's girlfriend, Lisa, before Gary got on Facebook. And was like, hey, can Gary have a guest set? And Tom's like, yeah, sure, why not? And then Ben Johnson. And then we all did like 10 minutes, and then Will Abels did like 45. Yeah. And I was like, and there was only like a couple of people, there was only like a few people in the audience, and I was like, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. You got anything coming up?
Actually, March 19th, I will be opening for Chris Bow at Legacy Bar and Grill on Delmar.
Nice.
Yeah, because he actually messaged me one day a couple weeks ago when I was at work, because he's like, wanted me to open for him. I was like, oh shit, because that's part of the reason I'm actually starting to go back out again, because like when the headliner's reaching out to you to open for them, it's like, you got to go for it.
Oh yeah, no, don't miss out on the fucking. They got a vaccine now. If you get it, you're healthy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you work daily. You're out there. You got a strong immune. So you got what? That it? Your March? What is that?
March 19th. Yeah, March 19th. That's the only thing I've got going right now.
What about some socials? You got any socials?
Oh yeah, I'm on Instagram at Breaking Pat, and also my chicken tender review page at Chicken Tenders of STL. I
did not know that was a thing, but I'll be looking into it.
Yeah, and then I'm on Twitter at Feisty Pat.
Okay.
And then also at Asexual Jokes, which is just me posting stupid asexual jokes I post on Facebook.
Yeah, I do dirty, offensive jokes on YouTube for like little 15, my one-liners. Like I've got a couple 30-second, 15-second ones.
Yeah, and then I started doing TikTok like right after the new year, so I'm on TikTok at Pat Ryan Comedy.
Pat Ryan Comedy.